Good morning, everybody. How you doing? This is your alchemy coach, Coach Renz. And this morning, if you're finding me for the first time, on this channel, we talk about the 360 degrees of your life. We talk about the alchemy of taking your health from lead to gold, the alchemy of taking your wealth from lead to gold, the alchemy of taking your relationships from lead to gold, and the alchemy of taking your spirituality from lead to gold. On this channel, we take the time for you to get your life together. So I want to welcome everybody here. If you're finding me for the first time, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you'll get notifications of our next videos and our live. And we're doing a live tomorrow, Wednesday, 9/11 at 9 p.m. So be live on YouTube and possibly on Facebook. Not sure about that one yet, but definitely on YouTube. Be live right here on YouTube and share this video. Now, before I get started, I want to give my gratitude. I must give my gratitude because I'm always thankful for those who support this channel in multiple ways. For those who like and subscribe and share the videos. For those who purchase from Uncle Ren's Popcorn. As you know, I'm the owner of Uncle Ren's Popcorn. For those of you who support me on Patreon, I greatly appreciate it because you're just saying, here, I appreciate what you do. Here, you've made an impact on my life. Here, I know the alchemy of my life is going from lead to gold because of what's being instilled and what's being taught on this channel. And today, we're going to talk about mountains versus valleys. Now, I know many of you have heard things concerning climbing that mountain or being down in the valley low. But I want to take you into something a little bit different. You see, if you actually think about a mountain, if you actually ever been to a real mountain. You see, I live here in Atlanta, Georgia, and we have two places that we mainly call a mountain. We have Kennesaw Mountain, and we have Stone Mountain. But I'm going to tell you about a real mountain that I climbed, that I was on when I lived in Germany. And what we have here in Atlanta really could be called Stone Hill and Kennesaw Hill, because they don't fit the description of a true mountain. You see, a true mountain, a literal mountain, not the metaphoric mountain, but we're going to cover that. But a true mountain, at the top of that mountain is desolate. At the top of that mountain, there's very little life. At the top of that mountain, there's very little water. In order for you to sustain, the air is a lot thinner, and it's hard to breathe. As a matter of fact, the highest mountain in the world, without air tanks, you can't breathe. The highest mountains are cold. The highest mountains are not habitable for your existence. But now in the valley, way down in the valley deep, it's green, it's lush. There's multiple types of vegetation that feeds multiple types of animals. There's nutrients in the soil. There's growth. There's water. There's streams. There are lakes. In the valley is where abundance exists. Because when you walk out in nature and you go to a real mountain, that's what you will see. When you go to a real valley, that's what you will see. But metaphorically, because we talk about trying to achieve certain things, that I got to climb that mountain, I got to overcome the task, the journey. Because climbing a literal mountain, a mountain like Everest, is a difficult feat. And if you reach the top of it, you've done something that most people will never do. So I get it metaphorically. And metaphorically, and what you've been taught in religions and in cultures and traditions, is that down in the valley is where you are low. Down in the valley is where things haven't been good for you. Down in the valley is where life hasn't been sustained for you. But when you climb the mountain, because anciently, you know, the gods were all on the tops of mountains, because anciently getting to the tops of a mountain were difficult, and only the gods can be there, because mere man can't exist there. So gods lived on Mount Olympus. Gods lived on Kilimanjaro. Gods descended upon Mount Arafat. gods have all existed on the mountains. And so metaphorically, I understand, but what I want to talk about is literally in your life of where you want to exist and why. Because when you have the metaphoric idea, but you walk in the reality and function in the reality, then the alchemy of your life begins to get your life together, begins to get your life right. So, in and around circa 1994, I was in the Marine Corps and I got stationed in Stuttgart, Germany. It's a beautiful area. I got there right between Christmas and New Year's. And then about 3 months later, another Marine showed up. His name was Adam. Now, when the first time I met Adam, I connected with him very quickly. And we quickly became friends. And as that first year went by, Adam became one of my best friends that I have ever met. And in being best friends, we decided, because Adam loved to ski. I mean, he was one of those country boys who also loved to go skiing and loved to do adventurous things. Very much a physical guy. Loved to run, loved to do all these things. And even to this day, he still runs marathons. Convinced his wife, who I find amazing that he convinced her to run marathons. But Adam became one of my best friends. And so one time, Adam got it in his head. It was April. Adam got it in his head that we were going to go skiing. He was like, Renz, you've never been skiing before. I want you to go skiing with me. And it's April. And I'm from the Southeast. So in April, the idea of going skiing doesn't make sense to me. And I'm thinking, like, why are we going skiing in April? But I had been in Germany for a year and realized that in April it still snows sometimes. So it wasn't too much of a foreign idea, because I took myself out of my past. I didn't just live on my past, and that's one of the things. We have a tendency to just live in our past and stay stuck in our past and think that everything in life is based on just that past. So I said, okay, I'm up for the challenge. And so we drove the 4 hours to Garmisch-Partenkirchen. It's a small town in Germany, in southeast Germany. It's a beautiful town. Very beautiful town. I had already been there many times just to visit, and had found one of my favorite breakfast spots that I have ever been to. If you're ever there, you know, the Patton Hotel, they had back in those days had a great breakfast buffet. I mean, it's one of them breakfast buffets that you literally, and I would literally get up some Saturday morning and say, let's drive the 4 hours to get there so we can have the breakfast at the Patton Hotel. And I found one of my favorite lunch places there, where there was a French restaurant that served one of the best cordon bleus I've ever had in my life. And I would literally say, let's drive to Garmisch to spend the day so we can eat at the Patton Hotel for breakfast and go to get this cordon bleu at this other restaurant and just enjoy the day in this small valley town. And what loomed over the valley town was the Zugspitze, the highest mountain in Germany, part of the German-Austrian Alps. The Zugspitze was the place to go skiing in Germany during that era. Probably still is to this day. So this was going to be my first time skiing. I kind of had an idea what to expect. I knew that we would take some type of train or vehicle that would get us to the top of the mountain, because although it snows sometimes in April, this particular year it wasn't snowing throughout Germany, but there was still snow at the top of the Zugspitze. So I knew that you can look up and see it, and it was white. So you knew there was snow up there. So the idea of going skiing wasn't preposterous. Just like you know that there are opportunities in your life that are up there, that are present, that there are opportunities waiting for you to be able to step through them, that there are situations where you can go and do greater things in your health and greater things in your relationship, and you know the opportunity is there and you can see it. But because you've never been, you're not exactly sure of the condition. You see, it was April, and I didn't realize that we were literally at the end of the skiing season, even for the Zugspitze, even for the German Alps. I didn't know that. And this is where you have to be able to identify what season you're in, what season your opportunities are in. Many people jump into opportunities very late. Many people see their health deteriorate throughout their 30s and 40s, and they get into their 50s, 60s, 70s, and all of a sudden they want to do something about their health. Well, you've passed the prime season, but even though you're past the prime season, there's still an opportunity there. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. Now we're going to take this ride up into this train, into the Zugspitze. And as we're going, I'm looking out this train and I'm seeing that we're passing areas that had no snow on it, but it had signs for skiing, telling you what level of condition this ski run is. That this, for lack of a better term, is the bunny slope. And as we're passing that, I'm looking, there's no snow on the bunny slope, bunny slope. Bunny slopes are for rookies, for first timers, for those learning the game of skiing. But there was no snow, so I'm missing the opportunity to ski on the bunny slope. I'm missing the opportunity to ski on the next level. I'm missing the opportunity to ski on the level after that. And the more and more we go up this mountain, and I'm looking at these easier levels to learn how to ski, and I'm starting to wonder to myself, what am I getting myself into? Because I'm not taking the actual necessary steps to be at the top. I'm skipping all the steps that I should be taking to learn how to ski at the very top. But I go ahead along and I go to the top. And I realize as we're going that I'm already moving in the wrong direction. Just in the same way that I see people in their health, they jump from fad diet to fad diet to fad diet to fad diet. They're skipping all the necessary steps of getting your life right, getting your mind right, of waking up every morning and getting your schedule right, getting the very first basic conditions that you need to have in place right. No, we just want to jump into I'm in perfect health. We just want to jump into I'm going to hit the gym and work out for 2 hours. I just want to jump into this field or jump into that field. As I told you guys before, I used to be an IT guy. I spent years going through education. I spent years getting certifications. I spent years getting training to be an IT guy. Now, I have spent the last 10 plus years not being an IT guy. So if I wanted to go back into IT, I can't just jump right back into project management. I can't just jump right back into merging. I can't jump back into security design. I can't jump back into integration. No, I got to go back through those necessary steps again. Just because my past said that I have it in the past, that I've done it before, that I cannot just jump in it. And if I've never done it, I can't expect to go from 0 to 6 figures. No, I know I have to go and learn to be a system administrator, learn to be a help desk in a new genre of IT. Maybe it's Salesforce. Maybe it's back into Microsoft. Maybe it's back and maybe it's into SharePoint. Maybe it's into one of those systems. But I know I have to take my steps of going back on the bunny slope, the beginner slope, then the moderate, then maybe the advanced, and then maybe that black diamond. But as we continued up this mountain, I started realizing that I was skipping the necessary steps. And you cannot skip the necessary steps in life if you truly want to see your life go from lead to gold. You don't just jump from lead to gold. You have to be put into the furnace, the fire, let the first levels of impurities be burned out of you. Then put into the cool water, and this is where you stay at that level till you master it. When you go from lead and you go maybe to copper, and when you're in the copper stage, you got to cool off in copper. You burn hot, you get the impurities out, and then you cool off. You get put into the water and cool off, and then you remain as copper for a minute until you get settled in. You get to know that level of copper. You get to understand that level of copper. And then after you get to know it and understand it, and now you've gained all you can from it, then you go back into the fire. Then you go to the next level. And you learn at that stage. You get burned out. You pull out all the impurities again, and you get cooled off. You get into the next level. You get into knowing that level. This is the alchemy of growth, of personal development. This is the alchemy of you beginning to live your best life. This is the alchemy of you getting your life together, of you getting your life right. When you first start that relationship, it seems great in the beginning, but you got to go through some fire so that you get deeper understanding of each other. Go through some fire to get better communication with each other. Go through some fire to get better understanding of how to live with one another. Go through the fire of learning how to love one another. Go through the fire of learning how to make love to one another. It ain't always pretty. It ain't always fun. But it's necessary. It's necessary if you want to have greatness in it. You're not born the Machiavelli of lovemaking. You gotta learn. You gotta trial and error. I can't tell you how many men, and I'm gonna take a point right here, think that what they did with this woman is going to work with that woman. The way you did it with her may be something that doesn't go over well with this one, with the new one. She liked you to nibble on her ear. This one can't stand it. This one liked you to bite on her shoulder. This one find that overly aggressive. You have to understand what the next person likes, what they love, what they feel that's a blessing, that's great, that's amazing to them. You can't say that I go to this concert, I love this artist. They may hate that artist. And you got to understand that. Is that a deal breaker for you? If it's not, don't take her to that artist. That's how that works. And the same thing vice versa. Ladies, you have to learn the same thing. So, we get to the top. And at the very top, there's a clubhouse. And at the top of this clubhouse, it seems nice. It seems like it's going to work. This is fine. I see people, they're outside, little kids. They're skiing down this one slope. I'm looking at the conditions and I'm thinking that, okay, it's just one straight slope. Not a big deal. About 200 yards. Not a big deal. 2 football fields from the top down to where we go. From where the little chairlift takes you up and you ski on back down to the clubhouse. Get on the chairlift, it takes you up, you ski on back down to the clubhouse. I can do this. Not that big a deal. I'm at the top of the mountain. I got this. Spend a little time with Adam. He shows me how to stop. Put your feet together. Put your feet, turn them in towards you, which is easy for me since I'm pigeon-toed. Turn them in, and it'll slow you down. When you need to turn, he showed me how to go side to side, how to shift your body. So he gave me the basic instructions at the top of the mountain. He gave me the basic instructions at the top of the mountain. I want you to think about that. I had basic instructions at the top of a mountain. And as we came out and I walked on the ground, I started realizing that this ground is not soft. It's not powdery. It's not what I've seen on TV where they're going through and the powder is coming up all over the body and you see it going up in the white snow. It's just easy and you're going through. It's not powdery like that. No. It's icy. It's hard. It crunches. Every step you go, crunch, crunch. And I'm thinking, falling is not going to be easy. Now I'm 20 something years old, so I'm used to falling. I'm in the Marine Corps, so I'm used to jumping off things. I'm used to fast roping off helicopters. I'm used to all these sorts of things because I'm 20 something years old. My body is, very limber at the time. I can bounce back up. You know how that feels. So I paid no mind. So we ride the chairlifts up to the top. Woo, this is fun. I love heights. I see all the people. We're going up. I see the little kids. They just going down, doing their thing. I got this. No problem. I'm a Marine. I'm Renz. Got this. Get off. Adam gives me some more basic instructions. And then he says, go. So I go. And I'm going. And everything is good. I'm slightly turning, slightly shifting. Oh, almost fell here, almost fell there. But then I start picking up speed because it's just one steep slope. And I'm going a little faster. And I start to realize that I don't have as much control. And I said, oh man, why do I not have as much control? And in my mind, I realized I don't have control because I didn't practice this on the bunny slope. I didn't practice this at the beginner's level. I didn't learn how to go from the beginner's level to the next level. I'm going faster and faster, and there's nothing here to stop me. And then I'm going, and then I crash and burn, and I hit the ground. And it hurt. It hurt. Too many times when we start stuff too early, we jump to the top of something. We jump to a higher level. When we do crash, it hurts. It hurts because you didn't build the necessary foundation behind you. So it hurts. But I'm not a quitter. I can't give up. I'm a Marine. I'm Renz. We don't function that way. I'm Eddie Ross' grandson. We don't do that. We got to get back up here. My daddy's name is Harold Reed. My mother's Mary Alice. We getting back up and we going back to the top of this mountain. We going to do this again. So I went up there again. And I went up there again. And I went up there again. And I went up there again and again and again. Because this thing was not going to beat me. And then I went up there one last time. And this time, I saw that there were grooves that you can follow. And I started following the grooves. But I'm not paying attention to where the grooves are taking me. And then all of a sudden, I see the big orange little fence line over there. And the orange fence line stopped. But beyond the orange fence line, I can't see anything. I see blue sky. And I'm going towards the blue sky. I'm going towards the blue sky. And so I put those feet together so I can try to stop. But I'm not stopping fast enough. And I see the blue sky is coming closer to me. And the white line is coming closer to me. So then I purposely fall and turn the skis up to skid a little bit and stop. And I stopped about 7 or 8 feet from the blue sky. I lean over and I crawl. And I get there. And what I see is that it's not necessarily a sheer drop, but it's a bigger drop. And that bigger drop led to rocks. Now, I don't know if somebody didn't put the orange fence line all the way around. I don't know if somebody forgot to put it there, but the safety was gone. There was no safety. But what I could tell was that led to what was a longer ski slope when the conditions are right. But I was headed there when the conditions were wrong. And what was there was nothing but desolation, nothing but injury, nothing but possible death. And that's what I saw. And so I realized it's over for me. I'm done. It's time for me to call it a day. So I go back to the clubhouse. I wait for Adam to come back down there. Now, Adam being my friend, I didn't want to leave him. I didn't want to just leave him up there by himself. But I realized that I was not in the conditions that I need to be in. I was realizing that I put myself in more danger than I need to be in. And many times we do that without thinking because we're trying to do something to please other people. And I looked at Adam and I said, bruh, I'm going back down. I'm going back down this mountain. I'm going back into the valley. I'm leaving. You can stay. You're good with this environment. I'm not. So you have to realize sometimes you can't be what other people are. You can't do what other people do. You have to look at your life and say, what is it that I need to do for me? What is it that's going to benefit my life? How am I going to get better? How am I going to live a better life, a stronger life? And we're definitely going to talk about this in tomorrow's live when we do talk about time management and how time management equals life management. We're going to talk about that aspect in greater detail. But you have to realize sometimes you have to change your environment, and changing your environment also means in changing the environment of the people around you. And even though you change that, doesn't mean you have to detach from them, because Adam is still my friend to this day, but it doesn't mean you totally detach from them. It's just certain environments where they thrive is not an environment where you're going to thrive as well. I don't think you heard that. So let me say it again. Certain environments where your friends thrive, certain environments where your coworkers thrive, certain environments where your family thrive, certain environment where your wife or husband thrives, may not be the same exact environment that you will thrive in. So you have to change your environment so that you can thrive. And my environment was down in the valley. So I boarded that train. I rode it down to the bottom. I got down in the valley. I gave them my ski equipment. Had my regular clothes on. Had some bumps and bruises. At the top of the Zugspit, I needed a big coat. Down in the valley in April, I needed a light coat because it was fairly moderate. Down in the valley, I went to my favorite restaurant and sat on the sidewalk, had my cordon bleu with some coffee, enjoyed myself, watched the people walk by. I walked over about a block away from my restaurant. There was a roundabout that had a beautiful fountain with water. I went and sat and listened to the water at the fountain and watched the people walk by. I love people watching. Then, when I was done with that, I went over to this grassy area. And I sat in the middle of the grassy area in this farm that was open, and it was an open grass area. And I sat there and I meditated with the beauty of looking at the mountain, looking at the Zugspit. Even though I had just experienced that condition, from this vantage point, it was a beautiful, serene scene that gave me a moment to meditate and get more connected with nature and connected with myself. You see, sometimes in the valley, where there is life, where there is abundance, where there is peace, where there is safety, where there are different things that fit your condition, you have to be in the valley, because in the valley is where I began to thrive. In the valley is where things that benefited me were in abundance. You see, Adam was thriving on the mountaintop because he had conditioned himself to learn to ski and become a skier, so that environment still worked for him. It wasn't the best environment, but he got out of it what he needed. For me, the mountaintop didn't have what I needed. The mountaintop was desolation. The mountaintop was rough. The mountaintop had cliffs. The mountaintop had environments that didn't fit who I was at that time frame, but down in the valley it fit who I was at that time frame and still am today. The valley had the green pastures where I can find abundance of life and meditate in peace. Down in the valley it had the rivers and the streams, and I walked along one river and stream, and I enjoyed listening to the water and seeing the rocks and the water going over the rock, creating the slight small rapids. And I looked and sat and looked at the beauty of it all. So in the valley, it was for my benefit. It had the places that I love to go to, the restaurant that I love. It had the environment. The world's largest nutcracker is there in Garmisch-Partenkirchen, at least at that time. I don't know, somebody built one bigger. So it had the world's largest nutcracker, something I like. It had a crystal shop that I like going into. It had everything that fit me. Everything that allowed me to thrive. And I spent the rest of my weekend down in the valley. Every time Adam went back up to the mountain, he enjoyed the mountain. I stayed in the valley. He was thriving in his environment. I thrived in my environment. And you have to know what is your environment to thrive in. You see, for most of us, you have to realize that down in the valley is where you need to be. that most of us need to be in an environment where there's an abundance of opportunities to do different things. You see, on the top of that mountain, there was one or two things you could do. Ski, watch the other people ski, or sit in the clubhouse. That's it. But down in the valley, I can walk along the stream. I can sit in the green pastures. Multiple restaurants I can go sit in. The turnaround, I can go sit there. The world's largest nutcracker. My crystal shop that I love to go to. There were people walking other shopping streets, doing different things. Down in the valley, there was more of an abundance of things that I could do, more options. And we have to realize we got to put ourselves in environments where we have more options. Right now, I have to make a decision. Well, actually, I've made a decision of certain things that will be removed out of my life and have been removed out of my life. And I have seen certain things that I will step into. I was asked the question from my career counselor as to what is the greatest talent that I have and how do I want to utilize them to better my life. And I looked at my talents, and one of them is talking to you guys, speaking life into you guys, helping you to use alchemy to get your life together, get your life right. That's one. Owning and running Uncle Ren's Popcorn from the big picture perspective. That's two. But there are other skill sets that I am not utilizing to its fullest potential because I've been stuck on a mountaintop and not down in the valley. And now that I realize that I've stepped down from the mountaintop and down into the valley, that my skill sets can work better for me so that I can utilize them. So I begin the process of working on those skill sets in an environment that would fit me. But am I jumping straight to the diamond level? No. There are steps that I have to take. I don't like doing IT work. So that's not an area I will step into. But there are other areas where my skill set will function and bring me to an environment where there is abundance. But I first got to do the beginning step. And then I do the moderate step. And then the advanced step. And then the ultra advanced step. You have to be willing to go step by step by step by step and realize that you have time to go step by step by step by step. And in order for you to get to the true idea of alchemy, going from lead to gold. And that's what I'm doing with my own life. That's what I'm doing with my client's life. Matter of fact, I'm meeting with a client tomorrow. And even though this is our first meeting, our preliminary conversation has already indicated to me that he's been in a state of lead for decades in building a business and turning his life business, his life work into a business, turning his skill set, his trade into a business for himself. And I'll discuss the idea of this in a different video, where I'm going to take the technician and turn him into the entrepreneur. I know Michael Gerber in the E-Myth has people thinking that the technician isn't likely to become the entrepreneur, but if you understand how to go step by step by step by step from lead to copper to gold, if you understand how to do that, whether it's lead, iron, silver, gold, lead, iron, copper, silver, gold, whatever, however many steps are involved. But when you understand how to change the alchemy of your life in the 360 degrees of who you are, then you can get your life right. You can get your life together. And the next thing you know, over the next 10 years, over the next 20 years, you went from lead to gold. Now you're in the best health you've ever been in your life at 60, 70 years old. Now you're financially wealthy and you're in the best financial position you've ever been in from age 40 to age 60. Now you're in the best relationship you've ever been in, but you started this relationship at age 50 and now you're age 70, but it's been the best 20 years you've ever experienced in a relationship. Now you have the best connection with universe, God, the creator, whatever you want to call it. Now you have the best relationship with how you find the divinity within yourself because you were willing to take the steps to go from lead to gold, that you were willing to step outside of what tradition says you should do, what tradition says how you should think, and you were able to go from lead to gold. You see, most traditions and culture tells you that you need to climb and scrape and get to the top of the mountain metaphorically, and we take that as a literal. But you have to realize, in the literal world, you have to find out what is your environment. Because in your environment, that's where your gold is. Your gold is in your environment that allows you to thrive. Your environment that presents to you the greatest opportunity for you to develop and become the greatest version of yourself. And me and Adam have remained friends. We may not ski together ever again. Ever again. But he is still the godfather of my children. Just so that you understand that you don't have to totally disconnect from people, that you don't have to do what everybody else does, that to be a person's friend doesn't mean you have to do what they do. You have to do what makes you thrive and not what others think you should do in order for you to thrive. How others say your relationship should be doesn't necessarily mean you're going to thrive in that type of relationship. You have to figure out what makes your relationship thrive, and then do and be that, and do it and be it consistently. So I hope you guys realize that it's not always about being at the top of the mountain, that there is abundance in the valley. And I hope that you realize that you are primarily responsible to living the best life that you can possibly live, to get your life together, to get your life right. That only you can do that. You may have a person like Coach Renz, myself, to guide you, to work with you, to walk that journey with you. But you ultimately have to do the work. You ultimately have to make sure that you're doing what's in your best interest. And that is what matters the most. So I hope you guys join me on 9/11 tomorrow at 9 p.m. If you're watching this and that date has passed, look for the live. It's going to be titled something in the realm of the alchemy of life. Time management equals life management. Something in that range. Haven't quite nailed it down yet. I got still over 24 hours to do so. So I look forward to it. Come look at it. Watch it. Take from it what works for you. Take from it what is environmentally sound for you. Throw away the rest. But I look forward to it. And I look forward to you joining me. And again, I want to give gratitude for everyone who supports this channel. For everyone who supports me through Uncle Ren's Popcorn. For everyone who's a patron and supports me through patreon.com/Coach Renz. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate all my coaching clients. And I look forward to working with you and anyone else that you may know who wants to get their life right, who wants to get their life together, who wants to take their life from lead to gold. If you know someone who wants to take their life from lead to gold, send them my way, and I'll be happy to make that change in their life. So always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable.